5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The stage is set. It's their final showdown. 3 amazing female songstresses and 3 unique male powerhouses, all geared up to win big. Over 200,000 Ghana cedis prize package at stake. Who becomes the breakout star? Join us at the National Theatre on Sunday, the 25th of January at 7 p.m. Rate 50 Ghana cedis. Performing live our very own Romeo Swag, DSL, and other surprise act. Don't miss the special night where a new star will be born. Could it be Achedie, Andy Kwams, Ivy Hollis, Kweku Shai, Tiki, or DNA? Grab your ticket now at the front desk of TV3 Mentor 14, the breakout edition. Powered by Shaltox Lozenges.
Brought to you by
Origin,
Fratelli Calipo,
Darling Lemon Drink,
Darling XYZ Wine,
and Napa Foods.
Dragnet.
Night is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.
It's the beginning of another week. Good evening. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live from Anisabata Desawe Kanda. Also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Okonse. Tonight, we're getting to the matters as it's been unfolding here on Ghana Tonight. We'll give you an update on Kenneth Nanai of Foriata and is expected to appear in court tomorrow. What is expected to unveil the true reasons for his arrest and detention in the United States. We understand it will be a virtual court session. Stay with us. We've got some details for you. Also, the University of Ghana branch of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, is calling for the heads of the Director General of GTEC and his deputy. They want them to resign before the end of the month, or they will consider an industrial action. Why? Stay with us. We'll tell you. Your Election Command Center will building up strongly to the new Patriotic Party's upcoming flag bearer race as campaign heats up. Stay with us on Ghana Tonight. We're also keeping tabs on the concerns by the Ghanaian students studying in the UK and the matters arising. Stay with us. We're getting to that here on Ghana Tonight. As always, connect with us here as an integral part of the program, the conversation. As always, the hashtag is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The Transport Ministry says it has reached an agreement with transport operators on a work plan aimed at addressing the current transportation crisis. Speaking to the media after a prolonged meeting, Transport Minister Joseph Bukari Nikpe said the measures, once implemented, will significantly reduce the shortage of buses and curb charging of unapproved fares by drivers, especially during rush hours.
We started engaging. The unions themselves and us sat down, asked ourselves, what is the problem in our transport industry? What is causing the unavailability of vehicles? And we have identified a lot of operational areas that we need to tackle. And so we have identified all the sectoral areas and a work plan to follow. The good is that the unions themselves are prepared to lead in the discipline of their colleagues to ensure that there are no more any floating drivers or vehicles on our roads.
The state's second witness has been discharged by the Accra High Court after completing his testimony against former NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Entry-Boisiakon, aka Wontumi. Chairman Wontumi Kwame Entry, a director of Akunta Mining, currently at large, and Akunta Mining have been charged with 3 counts each of assignment of mineral rights without approval and purposely facilitating an unlicensed mining operation at Samraboy in the Western Region. The Interior Minister has condemned the abuse of the national security label by some state actors, warning that the misuse of security powers by certain officers undermines the rule of law and public trust. Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak acknowledged growing concerns over misapplication of security laws and stressed that national security must not be used as a cover for unlawful arrest, intimidation, or the violation of citizens' rights.
Unfortunately for us, one of the nomenclature that is heavily abused is national security. All I need to just get some jackets and then put it in there. I just call it national security. And then no ID, nothing shows. So the police is investigating that because, I mean, obviously that we frown on that. We condemn that. I mean, if somebody commits a crime, you don't go beating the person. Why are you just going, you're just pouncing on people, not because they are fighting? We can't countenance of that. Every single Ghanaian that is maltreated will make sure that the right thing is done.
The National Schools Inspectorate Authority, NASIA, has shut down St. Olive's Grammar School for operating an unlicensed boarding facility for children. The closure follows allegations of abuse involving an 8-year-old girl who was under the school's care, an incident that has left the child's leg at risk of amputation. Professor Azeko Salifu Tahiru is the Inspector General of Schools at the National Schools Inspectorate Authority.
NASIA have done our preliminary investigations. First of all, I want to condemn the act. This is not right. As an institution, we are supposed to have the health and safety facility such a way that you can give first aid to your people. For a school to exist, NASIA will have to inspect, hold school inspections, have to make sure that you have the right infrastructure, the right environment, the right teachers, the right health and safety. So when these are not done, NASIA will never allow any school to operate without that license. So where it happened, this school is operating illegal, and in the first place should have been existed.
Concerns are growing over unpaid scholarships for Ghanaian PhD students in the United Kingdom as fresh details emerge about long-standing arrears owed by the state. Ghana's High Commissioner to the UK has disclosed that the debts estimated at £32 million date back several years, raising broader policy question about Ghana's foreign scholarship program.
This situation was created over 5 years. There was a legacy debt of £35 million that I came to meet. So what we did last year was that we paid £3 million out of the £35 million. And we also did not admit any new students. And this year, due to the situation, we are not admitting new students. We've resolved that until we clear that debt that was left behind. There's no point adding to the debt that is already in existence.
Oh, there's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7. Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279 or all across the world on 3news.com. Coming up tonight, all eyes on Ken Ofori-Atta, a court appearance tomorrow that could finally give a bit more detail on his arrest and detention in the United States. The specific reasons for the involvement of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, as we do know now, also has some keen interest in Ken Ofori-Atta and matters arising. Well, as we do know, a member of Ken Ofori-Atta's legal team, Frank Davis, says his client is in good spirits ahead of his court hearing scheduled for Tuesday, January 20. And we're going to put that on the screen, right now. It says in the United States, he disclosed in an interview earlier today on Joy News, he has also indicated that the hearing will be conducted virtually before, and we reference exactly how things will play out. This is what Victor Emmanuel Smith, who is Ghana's ambassador to the United States, told me on Saturday regarding his knowledge of the court proceedings expected to take place tomorrow. He did indeed also confirm that this is going to be a virtual hearing, and how things will play out, specific also referencing the exact interests of the FBI in all of this. Take a look.
Once he was arrested and we were informed, I had to call the Attorney General to say that, look, this is what has happened. And he said he knew and that the FBI had made contact with him. Regarding the visa issues, I don't want to comment on it because I don't know the facts. I don't know the facts. All I knew was that his visa had expired. That is the only time that ICE moves in. When your visa expires and you remain here, then you are illegally in the country, as far as ICE is concerned. So they move in.
I see. But at what point exactly did the FBI get involved in all of this? From what you have been briefed on so far, because if it's ICE, it's immigration-related offenses. He said no.
Yes, but I found out later on, we were told that the FBI decided to let ICE move in on the immigration, but the FBI were interested, in this particular case, Ken Ofori-Atta's case. So it was FBI behind or supporting ICE for that particular operation. That we were informed by ICE.
And what was the FBI's specific interest in this? Have you been able to establish that?
It was based on the extradition document that was with the Department of Justice. And it's only the Department of Justice who clears the way for FBI to move in on, cases of particular interest to them.
I see. He's also due in court on the 20th, a day before setting up Tamaklo.
That is what we are told, yes.
What could possibly happen on the 20th?
Well, the only thing I know is that Ken's one will be virtual. I guess and I'm also informed that he's been moved from the detention center where he was before. So I don't know what, I'm not asking, I haven't been briefed as to why all this sort of is happening. Virtual court, I guess it's something they are doing these days. You can be doing Zoom like I'm doing with you now, and the judge will look at the merits of the case. And if he's putting up a defense, the judge will have a look at it. And the judge would either rule for a hearing to continue or to dismiss his application.
I see. Wait for that. On the day Ken Ofori-Atta was picked, you said he was picked up by ICE with one other person. Well, so that's Ghana's Ghana's ambassador to the United States, Victor Emmanuel Smith. There are some things that he put out that now we know, based on what Ambassador Victor Smith said, that Ken Ofori-Atta, from what he knows, has been moved from the previous detention center where he was to another detention center. So from what he's saying, the Caroline Detention Center may not be the place that Ken Ofori-Atta is as we speak. Well, that's the information that we got from him as well. But today is day 14 that Ken Ofori-Atta has been in the coolest of ice detention since this news came through. Here's what his lawyer, that's a member of his legal team, Frank Davis, has been saying, that Ken Ofori-Atta is in high spirits, and in fact he is ready and working together with his legal team to ensure that everything is put in place. We'll show you that in a bit. But then when it comes to the process that all of this will take after his processing and being kept in the detention center for a while, there's going to be a decision that we'll be taking. Where we are now is this point of the legal help. We know the government doesn't provide a lawyer. Ken Ofori-Atta will have to find his own or access legal aid at libraries. They have the constitutional right, including remaining silent. They stay calm during the encounters. And this is what's going to happen tomorrow. A judge will hear the case. First hearings are often weeks after the initial point of detention, usually via video. So this is it. This is where we are now in terms of the processes that the ICE would employ or does employ when they pick up someone who has violated immigration rules in the United States. So in this particular instance, based on what Ambassador Victor Smith has confirmed to us, and Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers have also corroborated, we're at this point. The judge is going to hear his case, usually via video. Now, let's engage a private legal practitioner that's Justice Abdullahi to find out his thoughts about this on this particular one before we read exactly what Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers have been telling the media. Justice Abdullahi, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First off, I want to find out from you how, from your knowledge of how this particular process plays out and what I just played to you, how is tomorrow going to be like for Ken Ofori-Atta? Or does this 20th video, that is the court process that we're told will play out tomorrow? From what you do know, how would it be?
Obviously, we do not expect everything to go as smooth as is envisaged. I mean, I think the AG has hinted to how dangerous this is going to be. So, if the expectation is anything to go by, we are going to deal with an Attorney General, former Attorney General of the United States, and then, of course, the Attorney General of Ghana battling it out before the immigration court. And so all their representatives, and the stakes are quite high, and the facts are known. The grounds for defense and indeed for the extradition are clearly known and spelled out. I don't think it is lost on any observer that the defenses of the former minister is going to be political persecutions and all of that. And naturally, the Ghanaian side is going to rely heavily on the fact of the commission of a criminal enterprise in Ghana, and corruption and corruption-related issues. And so, which are conducts that within recent times, the Western countries have pretentiously displayed some level of abhorrence for it. And so you would expect that the court may not necessarily be a government, but the courts should be looking at the deterrent effect of fighting corruption and graft generally across the world. And so this is going to be a test of two evils. The obvious heavily reliance on political persecution, which, even though not true, is the trump card for Ken Ofori-Atta. And so, unfortunately, we have a country that is not so connected within the inner cycles of the United States, going to fight for the extradition of his former minister, and a former attorney general of the United States who is both politically and legally connected. And so it's going to be a tough battle for the Republic of Ghana. But I think at the end of the day, I have said this over and over, that this may not necessarily be the beginning or the end of the case, because there's still, whatever the decision the court makes, there's still that political angle to this whole thing that the Secretary of State would be called upon to make, whether to extradite or even remove. In fact, at this point, not even call it an extradition, but remove Ken Ofori-Atta from their country with or without an extradition order. That can still be done. Let's not think that extradition is the only means by which a person can be removed from a particular country. He can be deported with or without proper documentations. It all depends on the political will of the government of the United States. They can decide to bring him, to deport him with or without an extradition order. And let's remember that, luckily for us, this is not an extradition. This one is heavily on the deportation. The case coming on tomorrow is purely on the deportation. And so, with or without the order of the court, Ken Ofori-Atta can still be removed from that country and be brought to Ghana.
And the point that you make that this is not going to be a walk in the park, it's indeed the case. The political angle of things and the political persecution that you say could be one of the many issues that he or his lawyers could reference. This is, we got some indication of it on Saturday on Key Point when we got to know from Ambassador Victor Smith that he had already received calls from persons close to Ken Ofori-Atta that Ken Ofori-Atta is apprehensive about the kind of treatment he will get when he comes back to Ghana, even though that was vehemently disputed by persons within government as well. But it's not going to be a walk in the park, is it not? I mean, even though the Attorney General is confident that after tomorrow, Ken Ofori-Atta may come to Ghana earlier than expected. It's not going to be that easy, is it?
Indeed, that is a possibility, but it's a fanciful one. I mean, to assume that by the close of day tomorrow, we should have expectations of Ken Ofori-Atta coming to Ghana within this week. That is quite fanciful, even though possible. I say this because even if it goes in favor of Ghana, as we are praying for, because accountability is something we should all be yearning for. And what we should all go against is persecution. But accountability, it must be a call for every Ghanaian, and every public office holder should be willing to account for his stewardship. But, I mean, this on the side, we should not expect that Ken Ofori-Atta will be brought to Ghana this week, even if it goes against him. If we give ourselves maybe a week or two, depending on how the proceedings go, I think it may be more realistic to look at it from that angle. If he indeed if it goes in favor of Ghana, we should still look at a week or two for decisions to be made. That is because, of course, there's also the political decision that would be that the Secretary of State will be called upon to make, and that is why we cannot pretend that just because a court says he should leave or a court says he shouldn't leave, he gets to stay on for the foreseeable future. He could still stay on for a week or more, even if it goes against him.
I see, and we'll see how the coming days will look like. Tomorrow is a day to watch, obviously, based on the communication that we received from Ambassador Victor Smith and the lawyers of Ken Ofori-Atta as well. And this is what I've been talking. I'm going to go put it on the screen right now. We heard Ambassador Victor Smith talk about the day in court for Ken Ofori-Atta. Tomorrow is going to be virtual. This is what Frank Davis, one of the members of the legal team of Ken Ofori-Atta, has also said. Ken Ofori-Atta is happy. Their correspondent, their counterpart in lawyers in America, they're also happy. They are all waiting for the hearing tomorrow, which will be virtual. So he just corroborated what Ambassador Victor Smith said. It's going to be a virtual hearing. In fact, that is what is captured on the ICE website, the process that this will go through. Then it has nothing to do with any extradition process. That's according to the lawyers of Ken Ofori-Atta, whether they call it revocation of visa or whatever. He goes on to say that tomorrow is an immigration hearing for an adjustment of his immigration status in America. Simply nothing more, nothing less. After tomorrow, we will all know the position. And makes the point, finally, that tomorrow is the day to watch. We would all know the position of Ken Ofori-Atta and indeed how things will play out in the coming days for him. So we'll keep our eyes, ears on the ground in the United States as well, for our sources there as well. And whatever happens, we'll keep you up to speed with it here on Ghana Tonight. So stay with us. But coming up next, matters of education, because just few hours ago, the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, at the University of Ghana, Legon, they are calling for the removal of GTEC's Director General and his deputy. Why exactly are they making this call? There's a statement, very, very long statement, as a matter of fact, cataloging a number of things that they say they are not happy with Professor Jinapor. And we just have to distill portions of this statement, and we're going to put it on the screen right now. It says, legal overreach and abuse of authority. It says, GTEC under Professor Ahmed Jinapor Abdullahi, Director General, is acting beyond powers granted under Act 1023. Removal of the former UCC Vice Chancellor lacked clear legal basis. They say regulatory powers are allegedly used to intimidate and settle scores. They also point to the erosion of institutional autonomy and academic freedom. According to the UTAG, University of Ghana, universities are being micromanaged by GTEC leadership. Academic freedom guaranteed by the 1992 Constitution is undermined. Vice chancellors are weakened in exercising lawful authority. And also, this is it, matter of the disruption of staffing and conditions of service, one of the major issues that the UTAG UG said they're not happy about. In terms of recruitment, clearance has been frozen for 3 years, despite some assurances given by GTEC in that regard. Lecturer workload has also increased and motivation is low. Forced retirement at age 60 disrupt teaching and supervision. They say that GTEC has issued a directive dated 1st of October 2025 that if you're a lecturer and you turn 60, even at the middle of the academic calendar, resign, just go home. Don't wait till the academic calendar ends. If you turn 60, go. That's something they're also not happy about. Post-retirement contracts are interfered with unlawfully. Chronic underfunding of public universities persist. Infrastructure deficits remain unresolved. Lecturer remuneration and working conditions are poor. And then also they point to GTEC prioritizing what they refer to as peripheral issues of systemic decay. And then also they say they are chasing people with fake degrees as against doing what is expected of them. Well, we'll find out from them, but they also talk about the leadership style under Professor Ahmed Jinapor is adversarial and threatening. Decisions are based on unverified media reports. Quite a lot of them, as a matter of fact. Public misinformation occurred, including this matter of the University of Ghana fees incident. Staff morale and trust in regulation have also declined nationwide. You see quite a lot of them. And look, let's stay a bit further on this. And Dr. Jerry Harrison is president of the University of Ghana, UTAG. They issued this strongly worded statement asking for the heads of the GTEC and his deputy. They want them to resign. Dr. Harrison, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. I see a litany of issues that you've raised in this statement. Now, over which period or how long have you had to deal with these matters, and reason why you had no option now than to put it in the public domain in this statement?
Thank you very much. I think that GTEC as an organization has a constitutional mandate to be a regulator of higher educational institutions, has accreditation capacities. But over the years, what we see is that it has somehow reneged on these powers and is now engaged in settling scores which we believe are not the mandate that the Constitution provides them. In so doing, they continue to infringe on academic freedom. They continue to undermine the autonomy of institutions, which is a national requirement to ensure that we drive the development of this country. And well, I think that continuing in this stead would only spell doom for higher educational institutions in Ghana. And that is why we feel that their position has become untenable under these circumstances.
I'm going to go to your demands that you're making, but why do you fault them for, and I'm reading this portion of your statement, tangential and sometimes frivolous actions such as chasing people with fake degrees? I mean, that's part of their mandate, is it not? So why fault them for doing their job?
It is, but there's a core mandate that the Act 1023 gives them. Yes, validating certificates are part of it, and we don't say they shouldn't. But when was the last time you heard that GTEC has brokered a deal to bring funding to any higher education institution? When did you hear any news about how GTEC is improving quality education in Ghana? Have you heard anything about GTEC promoting high quality education in Ghana? You barely hear these, but these are the core mandates of GTEC. Under the current circumstances, even accreditation has become a money-making cash cow, where institutions are charged so much just for the purpose of accrediting programs. And these are monies that they don't account to anybody about. But the fact that the Constitution gives you regulatory role and advisory role does not mean you should confuse the two. Councils of universities have been set up by law, and by law, there's a certain structure and governance structure that are imposed on our higher educational institutions. But what do we see? When councils make decisions, legitimate ones for that matter, you see GTEC writing letters to reverse those decisions. I think that those administrative breaches, in fact, breach every aspect of academic freedom that universities enjoy. And we feel that it's been one too many for these things to continue to happen. And if care is not taken, they'll begin to run universities, micromanage universities, which is not the intention of the 1992 Constitution, in ensuring that there is academic freedom that allows people to do their work without any interference. Again, if these administrative breaches are made to stand, then what's going to happen is that there's a tendency for it to even escalate. And I don't think that that will portend well for higher education institutions in Ghana. That is why we feel that, given that we've had several engagements with them, we've made several suggestions on best practices globally, and have engaged them on many, many issues that come up. They don't seem to heed any of these calls. And we feel that there's a time for them to go. I think GTEC needs a reset, as the NDC government promised. This is the time to do it.
I see. But and I'm still staying with portions of your statement, because you referenced a directive that was issued on October 1, 2025, requiring lecturers to retire immediately upon turning 60, rather than at the end of the academic year. So that, for instance, now that the academic year has just started, if a lecturer turns 60, maybe after a month, the directive is saying just resign, go, even though the academic calendar hasn't ended. And you have an issue with that. Exactly what's the concern?
So when laws are made, there is a spirit of the law and there's a letter of the law. Because universities operate academic calendars, in the wisdom of managers of universities, if your birthday occurs after July 31st, which is typically when the calendar ends, instead of you being made to retire immediately, because you will be in the middle of an academic calendar, your retirement is postponed to the next July 31st. And that ensures that there is smooth transition between one lecturer and the other. But at the whims of Jinapo, he said that because in the public service, people retire when they attain 60, lecturers should do same. And so if that happens, like we narrate, if I am in the middle of a semester and my birthday reaches, and I decide that I don't want post-retirement contract and I leave, who would complete the courses that I'm teaching? Who is going to supervise the students that have already started the supervising? At the end of the day, it brings chaos, there is uncertainty, and it's only going to bring confusion. And these are the things that any regulator who is competent should realize before coming out with these directives. But even at that, we've tried to engage them to let them understand that there are difficulties, there are unique problems higher educational institutions face, and therefore should be exempted from these directives. But none of that seems to matter to them. But we are the ones who are here. Unfortunately, they are our colleagues who have been there and should understand these issues. But unfortunately, they are adamant to it. And we feel that if you, as a regulator, does not understand how higher educational institutions work, and the fact that applying the same principle to them would bring chaos and confusion to the very people you are managing, clearly then you've lost it. You don't know your job. And that incompetence cannot continue to persist. And that is the problem with that directive.
I see, aside from the administrative overreach, you also point to incompetence on the part of the Director General and his deputy. What exactly have they done? Reason why you put them all together, describing them as incompetent to leading GTEC?
Well, thank you very much. Typical example, when University of Ghana was reported to have increased school fees. As a director of GTEC, I believe that you should know what happens in every institution. In fact, that is a key role that GTEC is supposed to play in terms of information dissemination in higher educational institutions. GTEC quickly issued a letter to management of the University of Ghana to rescind the 25% increase in school fees. Now, as it turns out, that this was a hoax, that UG had not increased any school fees, and that it was LCRC and GRASAC that had imposed levies on students for the construction of their hostels. Now, if you are competent, you would have simply called management of the University of Ghana to verify the veracity or otherwise of this statement. And to the extent that you, as the boss of GTEC, couldn't even verify whether this statement is true or not, and issued threats of regulatory sanctions just because you can, clearly means that you don't know your job. And that is that's a clear example of incompetence.
See, but you see, there's a long path that you've already detailed, but we're going to put the demands on the screen right now. The demands that you are making. First, that the Director General and his deputy should resign. That's number one. And then also, you're going to petition the Chief of Staff if they don't resign, and possibly an industrial action if necessary. And you are urging all other UTAC campuses and sister institutions to join you in the fight against what you describe as tyranny. Do you think that you're going to get the support you're asking for?
I am absolutely convinced that many campuses would rally our response to this call. It's been one too many. We've had enough of their tyranny and oppression. If you look at how they approach things, that is definitely not how higher education institutions should be run. The fact that a DG can wake up one day and write a letter deposing the vice chancellor, contrary to what council has decided, these cannot be, called competence. And therefore, I am convinced that other campuses, will join the call. I am certain that other sector unions who have been suffering under the choking overreach of GTEC will respond, to the call. And it's all a matter of time when the right thing will be done by the government. GTEC needs a reset.
If this resignation, you're asking that they resign, they don't resign within the period you've given to them, say by January 31, which is just some 11 days away from today, they don't resign, then what? What will be your next step immediately?
Well, we have said that they should honorably resign, because if there's any dignity in them after all the mishaps, they would gladly, resign. But if they do not, we will start by petitioning the Chief of Staff for them to be removed. If that is not heeded, we will just embark on a strike. After all, we have to have harmony on campuses to be able to deliver the jobs that we've been asked to do. And so, to the extent that universities are now being micromanaged and decisions of vice chancellor being reversed by a single individual Sometimes we are not even sure the board actually supports these letters that were issued. We think that these are not the way higher educational institutions should go. If you look at the morale on campus right now, there are people who have applied for post-retirement contracts. Their councils are in limbo as to what they should do because they don't want to take a decision for GTech to reverse it. It's embarrassing, to be honest, and it's disrespectful to the councils that have been set up, which GTech actually serves on. And so we simply cannot allow such tyranny to continue to be the bedrock of our higher educational institutions. And we would definitely embark on a strike action if these our calls are not heeded. I mean, we have given them up to the 31st of this month to resign. If they don't, we will proceed to the Chief of Staff and present a petition for their removal. Pending the outcome of that, we will decide whether an industrial action is necessary. But trust me, we are not going to back down until these guys are out of the scene. They have not done justice to higher educational institutions and cannot continue to be the leaders of GTech.
Oh, we'll see how the coming days will be on this. Thank you. Dr. Jerry Joe Harrison, President of the University of Ghana, University Teachers Association of Ghana, that's UTAG branch of the University of Ghana. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And whether or not the other sister institutions that you are calling for their support would heed to this appeal or this call that you're making, we'll see how things play out. But this is Ghana Tonight. We're going to say a bit further on issues of education, and that will be after this quick break, because students on government scholarship, they are stranded, specifically in the UK, over unpaid fees and allowances. Now, we understand that running into over £32 million. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. fees and living stipends, according to what we're picking right now. Ghana's High Commissioner to the UK has disclosed that the debt, estimated at some £32 million, dates back several years, raising broader policy questions about Ghana's foreign scholarship program. Saba Zita Benson is Ghana's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. Connecting with us, just have some clear understanding of what we are faced with right now and what the students, especially Ghanaian students, are having to deal with as we speak. I thank you so much for your time. First off, let's understand this. Since you took over or took office as Ghana's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, how much of detail have you received on the situation, the plight of the Ghanaian students who are living in the UK as we speak, in terms of those who are having to face this situation of, because they have not received their stipends or even paid their fees, they haven't been able to graduate?
First of all, I understand their plight and what they are going through, because some of them have personally reached out to me. And so I totally understand their plight. This situation was created over 5 years. For the past 5 years, since 2020, 2021 academic year to 2025 academic year, the past government did not make payments to the schools that they brought our students to over here in the UK, and so there was a legacy debt of £35 million that I came to meet. So what we did last year was that we paid £3 million out of the £35 million. And we also did not admit any new students. And this year, due to the situation, we are not admitting new students. We've resolved that until we clear that debt that was left behind. There's no point adding to the debt that is already in existence. And so the PhD students in particular, I think that they claim the amount that is owed them is £5 million. And it's rather unfortunate. It's rather unfortunate that I am here with them, but I heard about the protest on Friday in the media. It looks like that's their modus operandi. They don't exhaust all the channels available to them. They would want to engage in the media war. Speaking to you this morning, I would rather they had come to me. We sat at a round table, discussed the issue, see how best we can help them. But it looks like they want to drag me into a media war. And so they go to the media and then I have to come and respond, which is rather unfortunate. I wouldn't want to handle the issue in that manner. And they did the same thing just before Christmas when they wrote to the Prime Minister of the UK, Keir Starmer. And I think that is very, very colonialistic, in the sense that we are a sovereign nation as a country. You run into the UK Prime Minister to get your government to pay something that is owed. It's in very bad taste. It gives me memories of colonialism, which is in very bad taste for me personally. I feel that was very low. That was very low for them to get to that level. They could have come to me, would have discussed, because earlier on I told you that I'm already in discussion with some of these students. So I have been following up personally on their behalf, and we are in discussion with the Ministry of Education and the Scholarship Secretariat in Accra to release funding. They have assured me that by the end of this first quarter, there will be some money that would be released to us. What we have also done is to, for instance, with the students from Ladbroke University, when they came and we had that meeting, they appealed to me to reach out to their school to allow them to graduate. We wrote immediately to the school, but the school said even if we did come and pay some of the payments, the debt that is owed them, those particular students would not even be allowed to graduate, because, like I said, the debt didn't start yesterday. It started 5 years ago. So what Ladbroke University told me was that even if we brought any payment for those 6 students that came to see me, it will go towards offsetting the students who graduated 2 or 3 years before them. So, these are some of the issues, and we have taken steps. We have issued letters of assurance to the schools. We have issued letters of support. We have personally written to these schools to allow our students to give them some time. But the PhD students in particular, they are the ones, going out into the media and claiming that, we are going to have the biggest protest to embarrass government. What is a bigger embarrassment than writing to Kiestiema? I mean, protests and demonstrations are everyone's right. They have the right to come and demonstrate. Nobody will stop them from coming to demonstrate. It's their right, and if you a right to the prime minister to get your government to come a koto to a foreign government, then a demonstration is really nothing. But I just want to assure all of them, all students, not just the PhD students, that we are working, we are in talks with Ministry of Finance to release some funding. Whatever funding comes, I would make sure that immediately some of these debts are settled. From first degree, master's degree to PhD, everybody would be sorted. Everybody will be sorted. We are not talking £1 million. We are talking £32 million. £32 million is not easy to go by. And our students here, they even know that even the UK government doesn't fund tertiary. But this is something that we do to support our brilliant and needy students. So they should bear with us, because all this media war that the PhD cohorts are engaging in, they are not only disgracing governments, they are destroying the chances of other future students who want to come. Because if you write to Kiestiema, do you think that if we are able, we finish settling this debt, and in future we have Ghanaian students ready to come, do you think that they would find it easy? They wouldn't find it easy. So you going in the media and talking about this and writing to high officials, because I would give you an example. There was one of them, a PhD student, who came and got pregnant and had twins. And she was writing to a lot of NGOs thinking that, she would be assisted. What happened with that was that the lady in charge of the NGO started writing letters to the Secretary of State of Education here that Ghanaian students should not be allowed to come into the UK. Because when they come, they become a liability. So you writing all these letters, you are not only embarrassing your government, but you are destroying the chances of future students who are really in need of this opportunity to come. So they should be patient. If they think they want to embarrass government by doing it, I wonder why they didn't do it in the past 5 years. But now they feel that they can come and protest. Like I said, it's their right. When they come, we will talk to them. We will give them chairs to sit on. We'll have a dialogue if that's the way they want us to talk. But I expected that at least they would have written to me, and then would have that dialogue. And if nothing comes out of it, then they can decide to go to the streets. But if they want to come to the streets, we are welcome. We welcome them.
I see. But then again, you said £35 million is what you inherited as legacy debt, and you've been able to pay £3 million, £32 million arrears. And these 6 students that you've even made an intervention for and pleading on their behalf, said if the monies are paid, it would only go to pay for those whose graduation is pending, not the current students who are facing this crisis situation, isn't it?
That is what Labrador University stated. Labrador University said, even if you come and you bring part payment for these 6 students that you are pleading on their behalf, that money would go towards the people who graduated 2 or 3 years before them, so that they can then apply for their certificates. So this situation was piled over the years from 2020, 2021 till 2025.
I see. But they have a deadline. It's a serious issue, and so this is one that you inherited, and it's having to unfortunately compound to this point. £32 million. That's troubling. But they have a deadline to meet as well. So then, what happens next?
Well, what I was told was that we'll get payments by first quarter. I can't promise anything.
I see. But then there's been already, after this matter became public, there's been proposals that we should review this entire process, and that is what has been done now with this new body that has been established to oversee the award of scholarships to deserving students, Ghanaian students, so that not all courses should be awarded scholarships abroad. There are some courses that can be offered by universities in Ghana, so that we cut down all of this cost. It's based on the experience you've had so far. So whether you'll lend your support to?
Yes, I think there are some courses, master's courses, PhD courses that government funds locally. There are some of them that are funded locally, and I totally agree. I totally agree that we should do that, because I also know of individuals who are doing their PhD abroad, but they fund it themselves. They don't live here. They live in Ghana, and every now and then they travel to whichever country that they are doing their PhD to, maybe once or twice a year, to go and do a presentation or something of the sort. So we have to have a look at it again and look at it, see how best we can fund this. But I believe that if the debt had not been piled up over the years, or at the point when the former registrar realized that they were unable to pay, they shouldn't have given new students more scholarships. If they had paused, like we have currently paused. So 2025, no new admission. 2026, no new admission. If they had taken that action, I don't believe that we would be in this situation, because along the years you were giving out award letters, and you were not paying. So why then would you continue giving award letters when in 2021 you haven't cleared the debt, in 2022 you haven't cleared the debt, but you continued giving out award letters and then piling the debt for government? It is not right. It is not right. But I believe that if you want, because we are here as a mission, but we don't pay them directly. So if you want to know when exactly that their funding would be released, probably if you contact the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat, they would be able to give it an exact date. But I followed up. I was assured that they were waiting for Ministry of Finance to release some funding. And
in fact, that's one issue that we're going to stay the steam on in the coming days, because it's not a pleasant situation for the Ghanaian students living there. Thank you so much for joining us. That's the Ghana High Commissioner to the UK connecting with us, giving us details of what the experience has been for Ghanaian students there. And the assurance is that she is also working together with the authorities here in Ghana to address the concerns of the students there. So it's one that we can take that assurance and also see how the coming days will be on this. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do appreciate your company. Join us same time tomorrow. I'm Alfred Kansi. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.
This program is rated PG. It contains scenes of brief nudity, mild violence, and strong language. Parental guidance is advised.
Program is brought to you by
MTN.